Here with us now is Republican strategist Mike Hahn and Democratic strategist Jonathan Harris. Good morning to both of you. Welcome back. Senators Ted Cruz and John Kennedy putting forth the idea of separating ICE and CBP funding from the rest of Homeland Security. They spoke to The Hill on Saturday. Cruz says he is, quote, interested in any strategy to get the government open. Mike, I'll start with you. The Hill's reporting this is gaining momentum again among Senate Republicans. What's the strategy here? More importantly, will it be effective?
Well, look, this is the second government shutdown of the Trump term that Democrats have caused because they want to protect illegal aliens. The first one was over making sure they had Medicaid. This one is making sure that ICE isn't going to deport any of them. So, look, I think we have to absolutely get TSA back and working. I think the Democrats are purposely keeping TSA hostage so that Americans feel the pain and blame the administration. It's not working. I was just in the airport line in Atlanta last night, and there are a lot of heated up Americans who know the cause of why these lines are so long and why TSA is going unpaid. So I'm glad to see Republicans making concessions to try and get this back open. But at the end of the day, this is solely because the Democrats refuse to open the government to protect illegal aliens yet again.
But Jonathan, is this plan that Cruz is suggesting palatable to Democrats? What leverage do they have right now?
Well, I mean, it could be. It's fascinating to hear Republicans who control the House and the Senate and the White House continually try to blame the Democrats who aren't in control for shutdowns on the president's watch, when Donald Trump himself said that if there was a shutdown, it was the fault of the sitting president. That was a clever attempt there, but nice try, but no. That having been said, I mean, look, if the idea is that the point is to get concessions on ICE, I don't really see why they would separate them. I mean, that the whole point was to get the concessions on ICE if they believe that that this is important. If they believe that some of the things that ICE are doing are dangerous, then no, then it would, it should be at least a non-starter. But yeah, that was a clever attempt trying to blame the party that's not in power for a shutdown.
So you see, this is the issue. Is Democrats think that you're stupid at home. You need 60 votes in the Senate. You need Democrat votes to open it back up. The American people aren't stupid.
Mike, the funding fight.
No, they're not.
The funding fight continues on Capitol Hill. We're talking about the TSA workers. They're not getting paid. Some of them can't even put gas in their car to get to work. Travelers across the country, you said you were in Atlanta yesterday. The lines are long. The president now saying he is thinking of the possibility of sending ICE officers to these airports. What do you think of that strategy?
No, I hope he does, because we'll kill two birds with one stone. We'll get these lines cleared up, and anyone who's an illegal immigrant who's traveling will be deported as a result. So I hope he does that. And I think it is a great idea to actually get Democrats moving on this, because the second illegal aliens are threatened, they may actually do something.
Jonathan, your response to ICE officers in our airports as early as tomorrow?
Well, I mean, considering how unpopular ICE is, I think, and how unpopular Trump is, I think Trump was so popular that unpopular that Gallup finally stopped counting presidential popularity. But I think at their last check-in, it was 34%, 35%. That's how unpopular he is. ICE is extremely unpopular. So yeah, let's combine how unpopular Donald Trump is with how unpopular ICE is and send them in while they control all branches of government, and then send ICE in. Yeah, that sounds like a brilliant strategy. That's probably why Trump is so popular right now. That sounds great.
I'm going to pivot a bit here, Jonathan. I will stick with you. This is all happening as the Senate will confirm Senator Mark Wayne Mullen as DHS Secretary. Not will. There is a nomination process going on. The full Senate vote is on Monday. Jonathan, we know he has Democratic Senator John Fetterman's vote. Do you expect any other Democrats to vote in favor of Mullen?
It's hard to know what any Democrat will do other than Fetterman, who is just a joke. I mean, he makes Sinema look like a hardcore Democrat. This guy is, and I want to stop short of being insulting, but I mean, this guy is just like everybody else that Donald Trump seems to want to appoint. He's completely unqualified. I mean, when you had Rand Paul, who would have been the vote that would have blocked this if Fetterman hadn't gone with it, if you have Rand Paul playing a demo reel of how recklessly violent this man is. This is a guy who wanted to start a fight with someone in a committee hearing. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. And this is a person that you are replacing. You fired someone who you're replacing with an agency that people are concerned is overly violent. So you want to replace him with someone who people have concerns from his own party about his violence and the violence that he advocates. I don't know if any Democrats are going to support it, but this is definitely not a person who is qualified, like everybody else that Donald Trump likes to appoint, not qualified for his job.
Mike, let's say he is confirmed on Monday. What would Republicans like to see Mullen do differently than former DHS Secretary Noem?
Well, he's going to be confirmed thanks to John Fetterman, who is one of the only senators with common sense to reach across the aisle. Look, I think that Kristi Noem did a good job at making sure the border was shut down. We're down to the point where there's 0 crossings, which, I mean, you can't get any more successful than that. I think certainly you'll start to see changes in the way ICE patrols American cities. We'll certainly see a little bit of that tamped down. But all in all, I mean, the department is run successfully. The people there are doing a fantastic job. The border is closed down, and we're getting people out of here who are rapists, pedophiles, and criminals and sending them back home. So I'm not sure what else you could really be doing there, but it has done a very good job.
Mike Hahn,
maybe
Jonathan
not killing
Harris.
Americans and using children as hostages and as bait to get their parents.
We're going to end it there, gentlemen.
Keep protecting illegals.
Jonathan, Mike, always appreciate you. We hope you come back. I mean, these are discussions happening at most breakfast tables right now, so thank you again.